Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked up this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have a Diplomat Aero, and this is in the blue. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens, and this is the Midnight in Florence. We have an Armando Simoni Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucens. We have a Visconti Opera Master Golden Dust. We have a Benu Scepter, and this is the number 6. We have a Benu Scepter, and this is number 1. And we have a Benu Scepter number 3. And we have a Santini Italia, and this is the Libra, and this is in the Ambra. We have a Santini Italiana, and this is the Libra in the Laurel. And we have a black Robin Pens Iago. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is a really nice pen. It's a Diplomat Aero. It is a metal pen made by Diplomat, but it is very reminiscent of a blimp in terms of its size. I guess it's a cigar-shaped pen essentially, but it does remind me of a blimp a little bit more. These are nice pens, and Diplomat have made these in a lot of different colors. This is the blue, and I have to say I do like the blue a lot. It does have a number 6 size nib there, and this is a 14 karat gold nib there. It's a broad nib, but I do like how this writes. Now, I know a number of people, a few friends have said that they can't post their Diplomat Aeros. This one does post. I think at some point on the early batches you couldn't post the Aeros, and I think Diplomat made a slight change to that so that you could. You do also have the Diplomat logo there on that cap finial. I do find out that this is quite a nice size in my hand. The section here is I believe aluminium. It's not shiny, but I do find that my fingers do slip a little bit on it. Not as much as some pens, but that it can do a little bit depending on whether or not your fingers are wet or if they're sweaty. But I like writing with this. I typically hold it higher up than down on the base of the section there. It has an ABS plastic feed, and it's a push clip, and it clicks. I do like it. It's a nice pen. So I have that one inked up with me today. The next pen is a Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence. So this is a Homo Sapiens. It is a Paravac filler. It also has a double reservoir here. So it holds around 2.5 milliliters of ink. It also has the patented hook-safe lock mechanism there, so it's a quarter of a turn, which is really good. One thing I do like about the Homo Sapiens is it has a concave section to stop your fingers sliding onto the nib or feed and getting inky. It comes with a number 6 size Visconti, and this is a 23 karat palladium medium nib that is there. I do like this a lot. Can I post the cap? Yes, I can. I don't typically post the caps, but I can do if I wanted to. So if you are a cap poster, then Visconti Homo Sapiens will post quite nicely. Now, it is a demonstrator pen, so you can see the ink a little bit here. It's mostly opaque on this version I have, so it is a little bit more difficult to see how much ink I've got left in this pen compared to some of the other Visconti Homo Sapien demonstrator pens that I have in my collection. But I do like that it's not fully opaque, and I can at least see some ink there, so I can see if it's getting low or not. So I have that pen inked up with me this week. The next pen is an Armando Simoni Bologna Extra, and this is the black and gold Lucens. So I have this one inked up. It is a pneumatic filling mechanism, so you can see a hole there. And what you do, I'm not going to put my finger on that hole when I do this because it is inked up. But you basically extract this shaft here. You put your finger on, and whilst holding your finger there, you push this plunger down. And when you have your finger on it, what it will do is it will create a vacuum, and when you let your finger off, it will suck ink up into what is a rubber or latex sac within the body of that pen. If you don't put your finger and hold your finger on that whilst you're doing it, on that hole there, then it just won't suck up ink. So that's why I didn't do it with my finger holding on that hole. But I do like this pen. You can see that shaft there shining through. This is a numbered edition. All ASCs are numbered edition, not limited edition. So I guess you could kind of say it's special edition. Definitely a numbered edition. But this is a beautiful pen. It does have the ASC number 8 size Magic Flex nib there. This is a medium nib. They only come in one nib width, and that is a medium, but it typically writes more like a broad. Very wet, and I do like how these write. So for me, that is a nice writing pen, and I have that one inked up with me this week as well. The next pen I have inked up is the Visconti Opera Master Golden Dust, and this is a beautiful smoky effect pen here. This Golden Dust, it is absolutely beautiful. I do like this a lot. I'm glad that I added this to my collection. It is a limited edition one of 60. I got number 3. I didn't buy this new. I actually bought it secondhand. The seller was in the US and wanted to sell this pen, and I decided I would buy it, and I imported it into the UK. Paid a little bit more on import tax and duty, but I really do like this pen. So I do like the Opera Masters a lot. I have quite a few. They are a power vac filling mechanism. They are a double reservoir as well. So they hold 2.5 milliliters of ink. The section tapers in and then flares out to stop your finger. It's not technically a concave section. You do have threads. You don't have the hook safe lock. Although some of the newer Opera Masters do have the hook safe lock mechanism. The nib here is a 23 cat palladium fine nib, but I do love how this one writes. So I do have that one inked up again this week as well. Now, 3 pens I've not written with for some time, and I decided I'm going to ink back up. It's an interesting one. These are lower cost pens in my collection compared to some of these higher Grau price pens. However, I do like how these write, and these are an interesting pen. They are faceted. It reminds me very much of the Visconti Divina, but the facets actually twist around the pen the opposite way. It reminds me of a staff as well, or a lightning rod. It's a nice shape pen. It's a little bit on the short side. This is a Benu Scepter, and it's a number 6. It does have a much smaller number 5 nib on there. Now, I typically do like the number 6 size nibs. Bennu did start putting number 6 size nibs on some of their glow-in-the-dark Benus, the Grand Scepters. I wish that they would put it here on the regular size. Although saying that, I'm more of a number 6, number 8 size nib writing guy. However, I do like writing with these as well. So, although I typically prefer larger nibs, I do write with these. So, I just haven't written a lot with these recently. These are cartridge converter pens. So that's the Scepter number 6. We've then got the Benu Scepter number 1 here. And this is in a lovely red and blue. And again, I like the shape and size of this pen. You cannot, though, post these caps. They're not designed to do so. But again, I do like it. It has a number 5 size nib there from Bennu, and this one, I'm just going to have a look at that. That's a medium nib on this one. I believe this one was a broad nib, but I like how these write. So I just haven't inked them up more recently. So I decided I am trying to this year re-ink up a lot of my pens that I haven't written a lot with. Try and go back to basics rather than buying new pens. which is perfectly acceptable. I want to try and ink up some of the pens that I just haven't used more recently. So there's that one inked up. And then there's a Benu Scepter, and this is number 3. So again, this is a regular scepter. It's not the Grand Scepter. But I do like this, and I'm just unscrewing the cap there that you can see. It has a number 5 size nib, and that one, I'm just going to have a look. I think that's a medium. Yes, it's a medium nib. These are much smaller nibs, number 5. I typically prefer number 6, number 8 size nibs, but I like that. I like it. I like how it writes. So I have that one inked up with me today. If you're after Bennu, there are lots of retailers that stock Bennu. Certainly in the UK, there is a Stonecott fine writing supply. I think Colt Pens stock some, possibly Pure Pens. They are interesting pens. They are around about 70 to £150, so they are not mega expensive. They do come with steel nibs. They come with Schmidt nibs, not Bock and not Jovo. But I do find that they write fairly well. So from that perspective, they can be a good pen. And if you want to, if you're not into the £100 price bracket yet, but you want to try one and you like glittery pens, then that certainly is a pen that you could try out. The next pen is a Santini, and this is Italiana or Italia, and this is the Libra, and this is in the Ambra. It's a beautiful cracked ice amber, amber nectar almost colour, and I do like this a lot. This is actually the material that Conway Stewart made a bunch of their pens with. It's a beautiful resin. I do like it a lot. This is a interesting pen. These are actually pretty affordable, considering that you actually have an 18 karat gold nib there. That's a medium nib, and it's a piston filling pen, and these do write quite nicely. You do get an ebonite feed there as well, and you can see that profile there on that feed. They do write nice. They are certainly worth the money, and I think they were, when I purchased this one, I think they were around about £140, £150. So with a 18 karat gold nib, that's pretty good. If you think that to go from a regular nib, a steel nib upgrade on most pens to a gold nib, you're going to be spending about £150. So to get a pen for £150 with an 18 karat gold nib is actually a pretty good price. These nibs are made in-house by Santini, so they are able to cut obviously the cost of the pens down, because they are working the nibs themselves. Although one could argue that it's actually costing them more time to make that, and then there should be an additional cost there for those gold nibs. However, they're doing the whole process from start to finish, turning the pens, doing the gold trims, the caps, the rings, the nibs. So they're able to actually keep that price point down pretty low. So that's actually a very good price if you're looking for a gold nib pen. I think the only other one that I've seen around that price have been the Waterman Carens. They come with an 18 karat gold nib as well. But it's a really good price point. So for me, that's another pen I got inked up this week. And then another one as well is, again, another Santini Italia. And this is, again, the Libra model, but this is in a beautiful green here. And I just love this colour. So for me, this is called the Laurel. And it's just a beautiful colour. Now, these are piston filling pens, and you do get that if you try to overturn that piston, it does do that clicking, ratcheting noise. But that is a beautiful pen. Again, this one I got with an 18 karat gold fine nib. These are, they call them flexi nibs. So you can get a regular nib, you can get an 18 karat gold flexi nib. So these do have bounce to them, and they are a little bit flexy. And I do like this. I have got a comparison video of these along with some other flex nibs, modern flex nibs or bouncy nibs, and you can see that there. So I've got that on my channel here, but that is inked up this week as well. But this, you can see here, is a beautiful material there. So I do like these Santini Italias. I may actually add some more to my collection at some point. At the moment, though, I'm happy with the two that I have, but I may think about adding some more later on, perhaps. We shall see, I guess. And then the last pen here is a pen from Meg at Black Robin Pens, and I was able to meet up with Meg at the London Pen Show in July 2021. And I'm glad that I was able to. She wasn't an exhibitor, she was just visiting, but I managed to have a chat with Meg. I bought this pen from her, and this was about a year ago. I saw this pen, and I am partial to a bit of glitter, and this pen really did speak to me. This is a beautiful, beautiful pen, and I do love it. So this is a custom-made pen from Meg. It has a broad Yovo nib on there. Now, I did actually get this with a medium nib. I think, was it this one? Yes, I did. I got this with a medium nib, and I swapped it out for a broad nib. I was just trying to think about that then, because some I have left with a medium nib on. This is a really beautiful, beautiful pen. So you can see that there. It's slightly transparent here, so you can see the nib through there. The cap will not post. It's not designed to post. But I do find that the length of this is a cartridge converter pen, holds around 0.7 milliliters of ink. Same as really the Benus, the three Benus here, and also the Diplomat Aero. They all have cartridge converters in them. But I think Meg's work is really, really good, and I do like how this pen glitters. So for me, this is another pen that I have inked up this week. So I think with that, let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen is the Diplomat Aero. So we will do an ink swatch here. So this, as I mentioned, is a broad nib, but this is a lovely, lovely writing nib. So this is the Diplomat Aero, and it is a broad. It's a 14 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is diamine, and it's a majestic blue, which is a beautiful blue ink from diamine. The next pen is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is an ink that I do like a lot, and I have had inked up quite a bit recently. So this is the Visconti Homo Sapiens, and it's the Midnight in Florence, and it is a medium 23 karat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is KWZ Gummy Berry, which is a beautiful coloured gummy berry purpley coloured ink. The next pen is the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucens. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now these nibs typically write very wet, and you can see that here. So this is the, I'm going to abbreviate it, ASC Bologna Extra, and it's the black and gold Lucens. And it is a medium 18 karat gold magic flex nib. And then the ink in here is another KWZ ink. It's KWZ Honey, which is a beautiful, beautiful honey coloured ink. And I do like that colour a lot. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Opera Master Golden Dust. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a fine nib, but it also writes quite wet. You can see that there. So this is the Visconti Opera Master Golden Dust. And it is a fine 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is diamine ochre, which is a lovely brown coloured ink. The next pen is the Benu Scepter VI. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now I'm just going to check. Yeah, this is a broad nib. I thought it was, because I do remember that I had two with medium nibs and one with a broad nib. So this is the Benu Scepter, and it's the #6, and it is a broad. It's a steel nib. It's not a Bock. It's not a Jovo. It's a Schmidt nib. And then the ink in here is diamine Earl Grey. But that is a beautiful writing nib, and I have to say I really need to write with that more. The next pen again is another Benu Scepter, and this is #1. So this is a medium nib, so we will do an ink swatch here. Now again, this is another steel nib. It's a Schmidt nib, not a Bock or Jovo. So this is the Benu Scepter, and it's the #1, and it's a medium steel Schmidt nib. And then the ink in here is Visconti Bordeaux, which is a lovely coloured Bordeaux coloured ink. The next pen is again another Benu Scepter, and this is the #3. So this again is a medium nib, so we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a little bit more of a purpley, reddish purple coloured pen. So I do have a red ink in here, although I'm not so sure. It's more of a purplish red. It's a Benu Scepter #3, and again it's a medium. It's a steel nib. It's a Schmidt nib, and then the ink in here is diamine Merlot, which technically is a red Merlot-y coloured ink, but it's a beautiful, beautiful ink. The next pen is a Santini Italia, and this is the Libra in the Ambra. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a medium nib. It is an 18 karat gold nib. It's an in-house nib. I do find that these write quite wet. So this is the Santini Libra, and this is in the Ambra. It is a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. Now these do have a bit of flex to them, so you can see there that they will railroad a little bit if you go a little bit too fast with them, but it's quite a nice bouncy springy nib. The ink in here is KWZ Honey, which is a beautiful honey coloured ink, and I think it matches that pen quite nicely. The next pen again is another Santini, Italia, and again another Libra, but this is the Laurel. So we'll do another ink swatch here. Now this is a fine nib, but I do find again this writes quite wet. So this is the Santini, Libra, and this is the Laurel. And it's a fine 18 karat gold nib. Now again, you can get some good line variation out of this pen. The ink in here is Diamine Apple Glory. It's probably a brighter green ink that I would normally put in this pen, but I do like that ink, so that ink is quite nice. And then the last pen is the Black Robin Pens Iago. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now I have got this inked up with a grey ink. I typically, more lately, had been inking it up when I was writing with it last with a purplish ink, I think. But this is a grey ink, I think matching the pen quite nicely. So this is the Black Robin Pens Iago, and it's a broad and it's a steel nib. It's a Yovo nib as well, and then the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which is a beautiful, beautiful grey ink. I think that goes well with that pen. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Diplomat Aero in a broad 14 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Majestic Blue. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Midnight in Florence in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with KWZ Gummy. We have an Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucens in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Honey. We have a Visconti Opera Master Golden Dust in a fine 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Benu Scepter VI with a broad steel nib, and that's inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Benu Scepter I in a medium steel nib inked up with Visconti Bordeaux. We have a Benu Scepter III in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Merlot. We have a Santini Libra in the Ambra in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Honey. We have a Santini Libra in the Laurel in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Apple Glory. And we have a Black Robin Pens Iago in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.